Showtime.
I, Georgie, am Pennywise, the dancing clown.
And there's cotton candy and rides and all sorts of surprises down here. And balloons, too. All colors.
Do they float?
Oh, yes. They float, Georgie. They float. And when you're down here with me, you float too!
Black Rose.
Here I am, Wheezy. Hey, you're gonna like it down here. Won't do any good to run, girly boy. See you in your dreams. Oh, come back anytime. Bring your friends.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Hatchet Boys. My name is P. Rich, and today I'm going to be reviewing and discussing It, also known as Stephen King's It. It is a 1990 ABC two-part psychological horror drama series, miniseries directed by Tommy Lee Wallace and adapted by Lawrence D. Cohen from Stephen King's 1986 novel of the same name. So yeah, Tommy Lee Wallace is a film producer, director, editor, and screenwriter. He is best known for his work in the horror genre, directing films such as Halloween 3 Season of the Witch and Fright Night Part 2, both great films, I like them. And obviously Stephen King's It. He is a longtime collaborator with director John Carpenter on Dark Star, along with Charles Bronstein. He edited both the original Halloween and Fog films. So, Stephen King's novel. I tried reading the novel before. It's too fucking long, man. Like, yeah, I do read when I can. Like, I don't read much, but I read like most of it, and it's a very long book. I just don't got the time for it. But yeah, there's a lot of like this. Yeah, there are some similarities into the book and from the book to the film. But yeah, there is a lot of differences as well, and yeah, I think they like kept a lot of that content out of this. Like, there's like hardly to no swearing in this film, and there's no blood in it. So it makes me think it was probably made for children, this film, for sure, and it's great. I really love it. Yeah, so basically, the story revolves around a predatory monster that can transform itself into its prey, into the prey's worst fears, and to devour them, allowing it to exploit the phobias of its victims. It mostly takes the humanoid form of Pennywise, a darkly comedic clown. Yeah, so the protagonists are the Lucky Seven, or called the Losers Club, a group of the outcast kids who discover Pennywise and vow to kill him by any means necessary. So the series takes place over two different time periods. The first, when the losers first confront Pennywise as children in 1960, and the second, when they return as adults in 1990 to defeat him a second time after he resurfaces. I mean, it's a great concept, and I love it, man. It's great. I mean, yeah, I also enjoyed the remake as well. But yeah, this one is just, I don't know, it's just like Tim Curry, man. But anyways, I'll get into all that. But so basically it opens it's in May 1990. It kills a little girl in her backyard. So it's signaling another awakening and feeding spree. Mike, the only one to stay in Derry, contacts his old friends to fulfill their oath after hearing reports of missing children. All of the losers who have gone on to have successful careers and lives return except for Stan. But I'll get into that. So yeah, now they're all having flashbacks of their childhood and their like confrontation with Pennywise. So yeah, during a heavy rainstorm. So yeah, after Mike contacts Bill's the first one we're introduced to, and he has a flashback. So yeah, in 1960, during a heavy rainstorm in Derry, Maine, in the spring of 1960, George plays in his brother Georgie is playing in the streets with a paper sailboat made by his stuttering older brother Bill. It goes down a storm drain where Georgie encounters Pennywise, the dancing clown. Oh man, I love this scene. Yeah, it's great. Man, so yeah, this is when you're introduced to Pennywise, and it's fucking creepy. And Tim Curry just, oh man, he he just really brings alive this character. It's great. So Pennywise, yeah, he tells Georgie uh, to reach into to retrieve his boat, only to tear off his arm. But he also like at first he's just like basically he's like, I'm Pennywise the dancing clown, and I'm Georgie, and he's like, my dad told me never to talk to strangers, and he's like, well, very wise of your dad. So he like basically manipulates the kid. He's like, well, we got balloons down here and all kinds of cotton candy and rides, and to make him grab his sailboat. And yeah, you don't see anything. Like I said, there's no blood in this film, like hardly any blood. Um, so yeah, you just see Pennywise teeth, and you just know that he just like ate his arm off or ripped it off or something. So, but anyways, he tears off Georgie's arm, and yeah, and he So a few months later, Bill and yeah, so we see now Bill's like basically trying to investigate who killed Georgie, and yeah, another great scene. I love this scene. Bill's looking through a scrapbook of Georgie's, and the pages all start flipping, and then it goes to a photograph of Georgie, and he winks, and then it's like, and then he gets scared and throws the fucking book, and it's like all this blood coming down from the page. It looks great, man, and I love that scene. It's a good jump scare for like when you're younger and everything, but I'd say it's like one of the best jump scares in the film for sure. It always got it. So yeah, now we're introduced Bill and his asthmatic friend Eddie. Uh, and now there's like they're at school and we're introduced to Ben um, and Henry Bowers. Henry Bowers is like a punk ass kid. He's like the bully. He's like a greaser. Him and his two other friends, I think, and Belch, and I forget the other kid's name, but yeah, they always pick on the kids and like do horrible things. They like kick the shit out of them and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, after class, Henry Bowers confronts Ben, and he takes a switchblade and he's going to cut his stomach. And in the book, he actually does carve the letter H in his stomach. It's fuck, man. The book is crazy. Like, if you ever get a chance to read the book, it's long, but if you do, yeah, it's worth the read, I think. So anyways, and then Henry Bowers kicks Ben down a hill, and Ben runs off to the creek where Bill and Eddie are, and they're building a dam. So Ben's hiding, and then once Henry Bowers and his like lackeys or whatever leave, Ben comes out, and yeah, they start becoming friends, Eddie, Bill, and Ben. So later they're joined by Beverly Marsh, who lives with her abusive father. Yeah, her father's like a piece of shit. In the film, like in the TV series, they don't really get into the whole backstory of Bev and her father, but in the book, it's mentioned that he sexually abuses her. In the movie, he's an alcoholic, like a drunk, and beats her up and shit. But yeah, in the book, it gets into that exploitation of like sexual abuse, and yeah, there's a lot of sexual stuff in that book. It's pretty messed up.
Nothing. Let me see that. You've been doing something you shouldn't. You've been fooling around with some boy. Poetry from some boy. I worry about you a lot, baby. Sometimes I worry a lot.
Daddy, please.
You're like 12 and already running with some boy.
Let me alone. You just let me alone. I said no.
You get my girl back here, Gubby! Let me my girl with the skin of him!
So yeah, and she and Ben are introduced to Bill and Eddie's other friends, the the comical Richie, and Stan. And Ben develops feelings for Beverly and sends her an ominous poem, but she has feelings for Bill instead. So it's kind of like a love triangle thing going on there. So at school by the creek and around town, they're all bullied by Henry Bowers. Yeah, like I mentioned. And his greaser gang, the children all have frightening encounters with Pennywise, like I mentioned. So I already mentioned Bill's encounter with Pennywise, and then Ben's is his father died in the Vietnam War, and him and his mother moved into his aunt's house, and Ben doesn't like it there. It's like his aunt treats him like shit or whatever. But so he's like, he runs off and he goes down to the creek or whatever, and he sees his dad, well, like an image of his dad, and he's like, "Hey Ben," and he's like, "You like my new home?" It's like a fucking like sewer plant thing, and it's like, uh, he's like, "Ah, we all float down here," and yeah, it's not a bad little jump scare as well when you see like this skeleton thing jump out at Ben. I mean, it's all right. But yeah, that's his encounter with Pennywise, and Bev. She's in the bathroom and she hears a voice down the sink. It's like, "We're all the dead kids. We all float down here." And then a balloon starts deflating, and then a burst, and blood just goes all over the bathroom, all over her, all over the sink. She runs and goes, tells her dad, and her dad comes in the bathroom, and it's like, "What is it? I don't see anything." At first he's like, "Is it those boys peeping through the window again?" It's like, okay. And then there's he can't see the blood, so the adults don't see the blood. Only children do. Um,
Help me. Help me, Beverly.
Hello? Is someone there?
The clown brought us down here. We all float.
Who are you?
I'm Vicky Burrows. I'm Matthew O'Connor. We're all the dead kids. Come closer, Beverly. We all want to meet you. We float.
and then who's next to see him? Eddie, I think. Yeah, Eddie's at school, and after gym class, the gym teacher forces Eddie to take a shower, and so he's taking a shower, and then Pennywise comes out of the drain. Oh, I love this scene too, man. It's great. I mean, the special effects are outdated for sure, but I mean, oh, come on. When I was a kid, I saw this on TV. I just loved it, man. Anyways, and he's like, "Hey, Wheezy." It's just great. The whole scene is awesome. That was, yeah, it's like all the shower heads start extending, and it won't leave, or it won't let Eddie leave. And yeah, like I said, Pennywise comes out of the drain there on the floor, and it's just, yeah, it's great. I love it.
Here I am, Wheezy. Hey, you're gonna like it down here. Won't do any good to run, girly boy. See you in your dreams. Oh, come back anytime. Bring your friends.
Then after Eddie, it's Richie. And Richie sees a werewolf. So it's, yeah, like basically what your fear is, like whatever you're scared of, your phobia, it uses that to scare you. Because I guess for it, for like the clown, it could take on any form it wants, but it takes on a form of a clown, I guess, to lure kids. But yeah, by scaring children, it says you taste so much better, like you taste so good when you're scared. So yeah, that's why he likes to scare them first before he devours them. Yes, so now, uh, yeah, Stan doesn't see anything that we're later on they do bring that up later on. But yeah, in the first part we don't see Stan's encounter with Pennywise, but now we're introduced to Mike Hannon and yeah, and Bowers getting chases after Mike, but when Mike's first introduced, we see him at school and he has like a scrapbook of like the history of uh, what do you call it? Dairy. And he basically says like all these tragedies like happen every 30 some years or something like that. But anyways, so Henry Bowers chases Mike to like where all the losers are, and they all like team up and start throwing rocks at Henry Bowers and his lackeys there, and he just threatens them. He's like, "You're all gonna die," and whatever. And then after that, they're looking at Mike's scrapbook, and yeah, and then the pages start flipping like they did in Georgie's room with Bill. And then you see like this old photograph of like back in like I don't know like fuck I don't know the early 20s or 30s, and then you see it come up and he's like, "You're all gonna die," and he threatens them. And, it's great. That scene's great as well. He's like, "I'll kill you all."
But I'm willing to let that go for today. Today I want him, so buzz off.
Why don't you guys get out of here?
Who's gonna make me?
We are.
What'd you say, Chubbs?
Hey, take the wax out of your ears, bark breath.
You're through. But Bowers, get out.
You stuttering freak.
Oh, man, you're gonna get a surprise. You're gonna get such a surprise.
Come on, Bowers. Get out of here.
That's him. That's him.
200 years ago. He was here then?
Come on. This is a drawing.
Now look. Here he is again. Same man. It's not a man. It. That's what happened.
I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy and I'll kill you all. I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Oh yeah, the losers realize that Pennywise, they refer to as it, is not a human being, but an ancient creature that awakens roughly every 30 years to hunt and feed. Realizing that it killed Georgie, Bill leads the losers into Derry's sewers to kill the creature. This whole third act, I love it, man. It's definitely my favorite uh, in the whole movie, yeah. Um, so Stan becomes separated from the group and then ambushed by Bowers and Belch Huggins. Belch is killed by it, who has also already killed Victor Chris, who had separated from the group to set up an ambush, and Henry is left traumatized, his hair like shock white after seeing the deadlights. I guess that's what uh, fucking Pennywise it really is. It's like deadlights. So Stan regroups with the losers in a large sewer drainage chamber. The chamber is filled with fog as the seven join hands to form a circle. They unite strength, but Stan doesn't believe. So like basically, the circle gets broken up because of that. Yeah. So a stand is grabbed by it, and then the losers take advantage of its ability to access and use their imaginations against it. Eddie imagines his inhaler is full of battery acid, and he sprays it on it, and his face starts melting. That's fucking awesome, like visual effect. It's great practical effect as well. Um, so yeah, the so-called battery acid, is injuring half of Pennywise's face. Then Beverly slingshots silver earrings at it, which seems to break Pennywise's head open, and like you see like this light force speed out, and so he's wounded and flees down a drain. And the kids like hear him moaning and screaming. They think they killed him. The group exists, or yeah. So the kids exit the sewers, and now they take a vow to return. Um, if it should ever return, they'll kill it. Um, but in the book, I just want to mention so that it's pretty messed up. Before they exit the sewers, Beverly all have a game bang with the kids, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, now every time I watch this fucking movie after reading that book, that's all I think about. I'm like, that's gross. They're like 13. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Stephen King, I would say, was on a lot of coke back then when he wrote these books. Yeah, so now Bowers is now insane or possessed from the deadlights. He confesses to the child killings, and he is institutionalized. So now it goes back 30 years. This is part two. And yeah, after that little girl died, Mike calls them all up, and they all have their flashbacks. And now, um, yeah, now they're all coming back to Derry to fulfill their promise. The vow they took is if it was ever to come back, that they'll go kill it. So now they return everybody but Stan, who slits his wrist because he couldn't bear to take it again. Um, yeah, I mean, this scene always creeped me out as a kid. Like, his wife goes to check on him because he was up in the bath for a while, and you see his dead body and his wrist slit and blood just all in the tub, and he wrote it on the wall with his blood. And I mean, yeah, it's a pretty affecting scene. Like, it always affected me as a kid. I was like, oh fuck, like, and like her reaction, his wife's reaction to it, just that scene is really well done, I find. So now without Stan, yeah, the losers unite and Derry later learning of Stan's suicide. They're in a Chinese food restaurant, and the scene it's good. I like it. In the remake, I don't like it. It's just the CGI shit just took me right out of the film. But anyways, um, yeah, it's like their fortune cookies, all this weird shit starts coming out of it, like insects and really fucked up shit. I thought it looked alright in this one. Yeah, so um, yeah, the losers are reunited. Upon return, they're all taunted and terrorized by Pennywise, and Pennywise now tries to get Henry Bowers to go finish the job and kill all the losers. So Henry Bowers, with its help, escapes from the asylum to murder the losers. Bill's wife, Audrey, travels to Derry, but is captured by it, who hypnotizes her by the monster's deadlights. Bowers attacks and stabs Mike, but is fatally stabbed with his knife. When Eddie and Ben rush in, Mike is hospitalized, and he gives Bill the 2 silver earrings he retrieved from the sewers 10 years ago. The 5 remain. Yeah, so now they're going down back in the sewers to confront it, where Bill realizes that it has Audria. They reach its inner lair, I guess you want to call it lair, and see the catatonic Audrey, and they see like all kinds of like tons of bodies, like skulls and bodies like formed in a web, and they discover its true form of a gigantic otherworldly spider. This is fucking ridiculous, man. I find it's in the remake, yeah, it looks a little better, but in this one, the practical effect of the spider is just shit. And I fucking hate this final scene. I do, like it pisses me off. It's like, why is it a fucking spider? Like Stephen King, man, get off the blow. Like, but anyways, so Bill, Ben, and Richie are trying to kill this fucking spider. They get hypnotized by its deadlights, and they're just like standing there. And Beverly retrieves the silver earrings, and she overshoots it. Eddie attempts to repeat the battery acid thing with his inhaler, but it's like, nah, I'm a giant spider. I'm just gonna fucking tear you to shreds, bitch. It does. It fucking kills him. So yeah, he's wounded, or I thought he always died, but whatever. Beverly frees her friends, but Eddie dies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eddie dies. The others follow the injured demon spider, finishing it by ripping out its heart and crushing the heart. They remove Eddie's body and Audria from the sewers. Mike recovers in the hospital, explaining how the losers go their separate ways. Once again, their memories of it and each other fading over time. Yeah, so save for his journal, Beverly and Ben get married and are expecting their first child, and Richie is cast in a film. Bill is preparing to leave Derry, but pulls Audrey out of her feud state, or her by riding her down the street on his bicycle, Silver, his childhood bicycle cruiser thing. Yeah, I mean the second half, good actors. yeah, the cast is great, I find. But I mean, the second half is kind of weak, in my opinion. Like, there are some good parts that I love, but overall, like, the first part was way better, I find. So, yeah, the characters we get Jonathan Brandis as Bill, Seth Green as Richie, uh, we got Annette O'Toole as Beverly, Richard Thomas as Bill, John Ritter as Ben, Emily Perkins as Beverly, and Adam Ferrazzi as Eddie, and older or younger Ben is Brandon Crane. Um, Harry Anderson as Richie, like older Richie. Tim Reed as Mike Hanlon, the older Mike. Yeah. Um, I mean, the cast is good. I do enjoy the cast in this film. And of course, you get the iconic Tim Curry as Pennywise, the dancing clown. I mean, oh, I just love it. He just brings the character alive so well, and it's like not overly that scary. It's just creepy, I find. I mean, yeah, the cast is great. Yeah, and I find how they develop these characters is great. Like in the first story, and when they're older as well. I mean, they interact all well with each other. Yeah, I think the cast, the characters are great in this film. I do. It always kind of reminds me of Stand By Me when they're younger. Um, yeah, so the special effects, they're not bad. Um, they're pretty good. Um, the music, I like the music. It's fine. Yeah, the set design, well, like they're in the sewers, I like that. I think that looks great. Um, yeah, I like the special effects and the practical effects. I mean, they're good, like except for that fucking spider, man. Oh, I hate it. But anyways, yeah, the lighting's fine. The lighting's good. The editing's fine. Yeah. So who my favorite character would be? Huh. It would probably be Pennywise, to be honest. Um, my favorite scene. Oh man, there's so many great scenes in this, but for my worst character, I would have to say it would be Bev's father or Henry Bowers. But at the same time, it's like, is it really Henry's fault the way he is? Because his father, I guess, if in his father's backstory, he's abusive to Henry, like beats the shit out of him and all that shit. So it's like, is it really Henry's fault the way he is, though? You know. But anyways, yeah, I'd say Henry and yeah, Henry and Bev's father are the worst for me. Yeah, my favorite parts. I mean, yeah, the little girl at the first when you see it, that was great. The book with Richie. or with Bill, I mean, the scrapbook, that was great. Georgie in the first of the film, that was great. Like down the sewer, the sailboat goes down the sewer. Yeah, that was great. I mean, there are some funny parts in the second one. The second half of the film is basically just it's all funny. Yeah, when uh, Richie's in the library, that scene's kind of funny. He's like Pennywise is like cracking all these jokes and shit. It's kind of funny. He's like, "Is your refrigerator running? Well, you better go catch it." Ha 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 ha. Like, yeah, that was kind of funny. I mean, yeah, like I said before, the first half of the film is great. The second one's a little weak, but it's still overall good. My first impressions of this film when I saw it on TV when I was a kid. I fucking loved it, man. I really loved horror films and saw this on TV. My brother and I just, yeah, we love it. We always loved this film as a kid, and we got my sister into it. So yeah, I guess you could say like if you were to show your kids horror films, I would start off with it for sure. Uh, it is like it's not like I said. There's hardly no blood. There's like no swearing, and there's no like sexual content like it was like in the book. Um, yeah, another great scene is like when older Ben is like he is like to Bev and he's like it is like kiss me fat boy. That was a great scene. Um, yeah, there's some like memorable quotes and scenes in this film. Um, yeah, so yeah, I highly recommend it. I do for sure. Um, yeah, the budget of this film was $12 million, and yeah, it made 189,700,000. Like, wow, it did great. It really did great. Nothing compared to the remake, but it still did great. It really did. Um, yeah, and I rate this film an 8. I give it an 8 out of 10. Alright, so that is my review for it. Alright, so thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Alright, bye everybody.